Hello, namaskar to everyone who is joining me on this show. I had done an exclusive show on the situation in Afghanistan, and today also our topic is exactly Afghanistan. And with me is none other than my colleague and one of, I would say, best friends and somebody who would always go along with these discussions and raise and help me in building these points. This is PVS and Murthy Saab. Namaskar. Namaskar, Murthy Saab. Can you hear me?
Namaskar.
Yes, yes.
Namaskar.
But we will conduct this program in English for the simple reason that I want the international audience to understand that, there are certain perspectives which actually indict the international community. And as far as the US is concerned, it is indicted too. And I want to be very clear on this, that we must call the spade a spade. And that is what I'm going to do in this program. This whole intent of doing it in English is not for the Indian audience alone, because many of the Indian audience would love me to do in Hindi. मैंने कई program हिंदी में किए, so I could do that. But मेरे को ये अंतर्राष्ट्रीय community, this international people who do not understand, and they have their own viewpoint and they push it on us, on the Indian diaspora, and they do not understand the strategic interests of India is also involved in this. I want also, this video is going to go to our government, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and others, including our friends in the opposition, whether it's Rahul Gandhi, whether it is Sharad Pawar ji, whether it's our own Uddhav Thackeray, or any of those leaders around, and all the chief ministers who mean, because this is an issue of India. It is not an issue of any political party. The issue that has happened in Afghanistan is a national issue for India, and it must be seen in a completely non-partisan way, and in a way that we have to address what is happening in a humanitarian way in Afghanistan, whether it is conducive for the human population of the world, number one. The second is whether it's really good for India. See, India has its own interests as well. See, people are coming and making several statements, and each statement is today. Unfortunately, the entire discussion is Congress versus BJP or BJP versus Congress. UPA versus NDA, NDA versus UPA. I'm very sorry to tell all of them that for once there is a discussion on Afghanistan which doesn't become any major party, minor party discussion. This becomes a discussion of what is India's stand for a friend of history called Afghanistan. In modern history, after we became free, 1947, 15th August, the country called Afghanistan, we have recognized. We have constantly worked with them. There is a massive history behind it. Things changed over time. We have seen the worst, we have seen the best. India had a role to play. India had a damn good role to play of building Afghanistan's infrastructure. And I want to see all that, and I want to discuss all that. And I hope Murthy Saab is ready for this. Murthy Saab, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me first start. Let me see whether I can take my friend Tyagarajan to load that video of the young Afghan girl which we first watched. Can we watch that video of the young Afghan girl, what she's saying? Watch this. Voice, please.
फ्यूचर नहीं है। हम बहुत मतलब प्रॉब्लम फेस करते हैं, क्योंकि एक तो जॉब नहीं है, इधर काम नहीं है, इंडियन के लिए काम नहीं है, अफगानी को तो दूर की बात है, और दूसरा घर अपना नहीं। हेल्प इतने टाइम से हमारा जो प्रॉपर्टी अफगानिस्तान में था उनको बेच के हम इधर आए, इतना खर्चा किया। अगर रहना है रहने दी, अगर निकालना है जल्द से जल्द हमें निकाल, क्योंकि भारत थोड़ा सा सेफ है, पाकिस्तान तो खुद अकाउंट बुआ दिया है। सिर्फ सर हमें ये चाहिए कि हम यहाँ से दूसरे कंट्री चले जाए, क्योंकि हमारा कोई फ्यूचर नहीं है। हम बहुत मतलब प्रॉब्लम फेस करते हैं, क्योंकि एक तो जॉब नहीं है, इधर काम नहीं है, इंडियन के लिए काम नहीं है, अफगानी को तो दूर की बात सकते, और दूसरा घर अपना नहीं है, रेंट देना पड़ेगा हर महीने। मतलब प्रॉब्लम तो बहुत ज़्यादा है। मेन प्रॉब्लम यही है कि तो हम स्टडी नहीं कर सकते, इधर स्टडी अच्छा नहीं है। दूसरा तो जॉब नहीं है, हमारा जो फादर जॉब करना चाहता है उनका लैंग्वेज नहीं आता, काम नहीं है, तो यही सब प्रॉब्लम। हम अफगानिस्तान से, हमारा 10 ईयर हो गया हम यहाँ हैं और हमारा कोई फ्यूचर नहीं पता है, संख्या का तो उतना नहीं पता है कि कितना है। एजुकेशन, अगर हम एजुकेशन यहाँ पढ़ाई भी कर ले फिर हमें जॉब नहीं मिलता, ये तो आपको भी पता है। इंडियन को नहीं मिलता है जॉब, फिर दूसरे कंट्री का लोग कैसे मिल जाएगा।
अब डिमांड क्या है आपकी, आप क्या चाहते हैं?
हमारा डिमांड यही है कि हमारा फ्यूचर पता चले, क्योंकि हमारा तो कोई यहाँ फ्यूचर ही नहीं है। और हम इसलिए खुश है कि अफगानियों को निकाल दे या कुछ भी जो इस देश में नहीं है उनको निकाल दे, ये हमारी खुशी की बात है।
ला रही है, एनआरसी ला रही है,
ये अच्छी बात है। हाँ,
उनको यहाँ से या तो निकाल दे, उनके देश भेज दिया जाएगा या फिर रिफ्यूजी कैंप में डाल दिया जाएगा।
ये अच्छी बात है ताकि लोग को उसके फ्यूचर के बारे में पता चले ना। ऐसा तो नहीं है कश्ती में भेज जाओ इधर उधर।
जो चाइल्ड एजुकेशन है वो हो पा रही है आपकी? चाइल्ड एजुकेशन
हाँ, चाइल्ड का हो रहा है।
कितने कॉलेज हैं जो यहाँ पे स्कूल हैं जो आपको एडमिशन दे देते हैं?
जो हमारे चौथे भैया, जो बहन, ये सब कर सकता है। जो बड़ा होता है उनको तब तक लैंग्वेज सीखना पड़ेगा।
हायर एजुकेशन की दिक्कत है।
हाँ, हायर एजुकेशन। और हमें एजुकेशन नहीं चाहिए, जॉब भी नहीं चाहिए, हमें सेटलमेंट चाहिए, फ्यूचर चाहिए, ताकि हमें फ्यूचर क्या हो।
पहले तो एजुकेशन मिले तभी तो फ्यूचर बनेगा ना
सर। जब हम एजुकेशन करें, जॉब नहीं होगा, इस एजुकेशन पे सर पे लगा दे क्या? जॉब नहीं होगा, एजुकेशन को क्या?
जैसे तो फंडामेंटल जो राइट हैं आपके, या जो चीजें हैं जैसे कि राशन कार्ड हो गया या जो पहचान पत्र है, आधार कार्ड वगैरह, वो आपको होंगे नहीं बिल्कुल भी।
हमें राशन नहीं मिल रहा, जो मिल जाएगा वो सबसे गंदा चीज होगा, खाने का लायक भी नहीं होता है।
लॉकडाउन रहा है हमारे देश में भी खुला है, क्या क्या समस्या आपने झेली यहाँ पर?
समस्या ये भी झेल लिया कि घर का रेंट हम नहीं दे सकते, घर पे फ्री बैठी है, काम भी नहीं है, घर का रेंट नहीं दे सकते। घर के मालिक बोल रहे जब रहते हैं तो पैसा देना पड़ेगा, काम नहीं है, हम पैसा कहाँ से करें उनको दे?
तो हेल्प जो मिलती है आपको कहाँ से मिलती है?
हेल्प इतने टाइम से हमारा जो प्रॉपर्टी अफगानिस्तान में था उनको बेच के हम इधर आए, इतना खर्चा किया, अब इधर कुछ भी नहीं है, फिर वहाँ का खत्म हो गया, इधर का खत्म हो गया, फ्यूचर भी नहीं पता है, क्या फायदा रहे।
मोदी सरकार से क्या चाहते हैं आप?
मोदी सरकार से ये चाहते हैं कि जल्द से जल्द हमारे फ्यूचर जो भी है पता चले, अगर रहना है रहने दी, अगर निकालना है जल्द से जल्द हमें निकाल दीजिए।
मैडम, जैसे कि और भी पड़ोसी देश है, भारत, पाकिस्तान है, श्रीलंका है, नेपाल है, बांग्लादेश है, आपने भारत को ही क्यों चुना?
क्योंकि भारत थोड़ा सा सेफ है, पाकिस्तान तो खुद अकाउंट गुआ दिया है। हाँ, उसके वजह से अफगानिस्तान खराब हो गया, तो वहाँ हम क्यों जाए?
जैसे कि रोहिंग्या हैं बहुत सारे, उनको यहाँ पे दे दी गई है, मुश्किल से विवाद चल रहा है, क्या आपको भी लग रहा है कि आपको भी श्रेणी में डाल दिया जाएगा?
मुझे उतना हिंदी ज़्यादा नहीं पता, सिर्फ सर हमें ये चाहिए कि हम यहाँ से दूसरे कंट्री चले जाए, क्योंकि हमारा कोई फ्यूचर नहीं है यहाँ। 10 साल से हम इधर रहे, कोई फ्यूचर ही नहीं है इधर, पढ़ाई भी करा, जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है, क्या फायदा इधर रहने का फिर?
So that was the Afghan girl, a very young Afghan girl, talking about the problems she's facing. She's a student in Delhi, as I understand. The video is courtesy Siyasi Bharat Facebook website, and one of the best videos that I saw. And basically, the videos talks about the real sentiment. The girl tells you, the young beautiful girl tells you that I need a job. Afghans need a job, and they say, yes, we know how India can provide us a job when it is not able to even satisfy its own people with jobs. So there is no scope for us today. On the other hand, when she's cross-questioned that there are other countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Yevo, and Pakistan, it's music for the ears of many of the people who like to do Pakistan bashing every day. And at the same time, we must also call Pakistan for sure, like we call. The rogue Pakistan army and the ISI has been destroying Afghanistan. There's no doubt about it. And I'll come in this program why I'm saying that. She says, Bharat to safe hai. The very specific statement, Bharat to safe hai. Isse to and she also says that Pakistan to khud hi ek terrorism ko promote karne wala desh hai. This is the certificate they are receiving from an Afghan resident living in India, she's like a student. And the other part, she says, whatever she or her family had, they sold everything And the girl came to study here. Her cousin brothers and all are working here, and they don't have a job. So they are surviving. They have sold their house, property, everything to come to India, thinking that they will get a chance to grow here. Now they say, since we do not have anything, whatever we have, deport us to any country other than Afghanistan. You can send to any third country, but not these countries. Right? She says, either you keep us and enable us, or you send us off. So this is the thing. This is the frustration. On one side, they have a great love and deep love for India, the Afghan people, which you can see from the demeanor of the girl, the Afghan girl. On the other side is the spirit with which they talk, that and they are also very kind to Indian people when they say, जब आपके लोगों को ही नौकरी नहीं है, तो हमको कहाँ से मिलेगी? That means if you are not able to provide for the jobs of average Indians, how can the Afghan expect them to be provided jobs in India? It's a very simple thing they are asking. So I think this is a diplomatic issue of the highest order, and it cannot be sorted out by only one political party. It has to be sorted out, in my opinion, by a concerted effort of the political diaspora of India. For once, I want to see, and I think Murthy Sahab, I want your statement. Do you agree with what I'm saying? For once, all of them should come together on a platform, forget other issues. Fight for the other issues. Farmers' issues, opposite side. Every issue, opposite side. No issues. And we should do that. We must confront the government where it is required. Here, I think from the government also, it should give a real hand to the opposition, saying the Afghanistan issue, India should be one. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Professor.
There is no scope for politicking here.
Absolutely. No, there is no scope for politicking. All parties have to come together on the Afghan issue and have to come out with a clear vision what they are going to say. It should not be that you tu main nahi chalega yahan pe. It has to be clear cut one position as a country. All political diaspora has to come back and do the decision on this one.
Right.
And very important is what you have heard from that girl. It's very important to see that lot of respect for Indians and Indian education system outside the country.
Correct.
Which is well known both in Africa and these type of countries.
Right.
And that has to be understood by the political diaspora.
Yes.
Why they should not spoil the image of India outside this in these countries.
Right.
When people are asking for something, we must come out with a clear-cut vision. How we are going to deal with this issue should be come out from all the political parties together.
Right.
That is most important today. The need of the hour, Professor.
Yes.
That's what my view.
Yes. Now I want to put up something very interesting. See, whatever said in my last issue, I have actually brought out a lot of things which I have in my pocket. Let me see whether I can get that paper. So I got that paper out. It's a secret paper document which I noted. I want to repeat all that I did last time in my video, a solo video. First of all, it's very interesting that I had tweeted to Prime Minister on 14 July, and I don't have to repeat that. There I said, 14 July itself, I said it's a disaster. And you will come to know why I said that a disaster through other videos that I'm pointing out. I'll be pushing one more video after this. But before that, let me put some points out. See, this Afghanistan conflict's the old conflict. First, it was the Russia-Afghanistan conflict, 1979 to 89. There was a big fight, and that the Mujahideen fighters actually fought Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
The Mujahideen, let us be very clear that the Mujahideen were those people who are actually currently the Northern Alliance. Basically, the Ahmad Shah Massoud-based alliance was the one which fought against the Russians at the time.
Russians
had to finally make an exit in 1989. And we all know what happened after that. After that, it has been very unstable as well, because any superpower, any fight happens after that, the country takes a long time to take shape. It took shape. We had a democratic, sort of democratic president in Najibullah, but he was also kind of a dictator in the form of a democracy. He was a sort of a dictator, but not a bad dictator. He was a benevolent dictator. If you look at dictators, then we have Saddam Hussein of Iraq, nothing was found. No weapons of mass destruction was found. But I don't know how benevolent he was, but Najib seems to be a benevolent dictator like so many dictators. But yes, there was a Democratic People's Party which was there, Pakistan, that was fighting. And remember, Democratic Republic of Afghanistan, the forces were also fighting along with the Mujahideen for freedom versus Russia. So this is the history. Then later on, what happened? When did the US entry came into picture? It's very important to know the US entrance. And there are different presidents. People can say Democrats did it, Republican. There were Democrat and Republican presidents together.
All presidents, yes.
Then, okay, somebody goes out or escapes and the other comes in, is different story. Give you an example. The first problem started when the Bamiyan statue was blown by Taliban in the year 2001. And remember, 1996, they were legally given power by the Americans, right? At that time also, they recognized it as the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. They made that blunder 1996 until 2001. So what happened in 2001? A series of events happened. Before that, I must also talk about the IC-814 Indian Airlines plane hijacking in Kandahar in December 1999.
Yes.
We must remember that the Vajpayee government was there at the time.
Yes.
IC-814 hijacking, what it resulted after the Kandahar. This is the photo of the Kandahar Bamiyan Buddha, which was completely blasted, and not one. They were the tallest statues. They were historically the tallest statues in the world. This is 2001. But I'm talking of IC-814 hijacking to give you a link of why this.
1999.
What? No, people say India has no stake. That is why I'm giving this. IC-814 was hijacked. It was hijacked, and I tell you the airports it went. It went from Tribhuvan International Airport in Nepal. It was brought out to Raja Singh Saini Airport at Amritsar. Before it entered Lahore Airport of Pakistan. Then it went to the Al Minhad Air Base in UAE, United Arab Emirates. Before it landed at Kabul Airport and was in Kandahar finally. So this is the trip that flight took hijacked from Nepal, Kathmandu, Tribhuvan Airport. So this was IC-814 Indian Airlines flight hijacking. And this is the photograph from the past. The Taliban fighters, standing in front of the Indian Airlines IC-814. In Kandahar ka picture hai. This is a picture from Kandahar. So let us remind everybody who will see our video will now come to know a lot of this history, right? Now this is December 1999. What we did, that will become a macro politics, but what happened? We had to save our passengers. So the government of the day decided to save the passengers. They had to release a few terror elements, definitely. I'm not getting into that discussion, but the hard fact is the life of 165 odd passengers was more important than trying to hold forte on two terrorist assets. Any country would have decided, look at what Americans have done today. To save their people, they have simply withdrawn 2,500 troops. That is the perception. Now it's a blunder. So why we are blaming India always? Whether it's a Congress or BJP, stop blaming each other when it comes to an international issue.
Absolutely true.
You are handling a terrorism issue. So if you are under duress, you will save your citizens first. Today, what is it doing? It is evacuating the people who are stranded in Afghanistan. Because obviously Americans are also doing the same thing. So why should we blame India in this, in a political sense? Yes, at the same breath, I want to tell our friends in the BJP that you, for God's sake, try to also save Afghan citizens who want to take asylum. If Germany can give asylum, you also start considering selective way you would give asylum to people, save the students that are there in India. So it's a very, very larger issue. It's not an issue. Afghanistan is a friendly country of India. Afghanistan is not an enemy country of India. We must know that historically. So this I want to take 1,000 times. And Afghanistan is being a country which is at the mercy and at the constant pillorying and being pounded by Pakistan because the funding of the Taliban has been done by Pakistan. The girl's interview, she says, Pakistan to khud terrorist country hai, wahi to Afghanistan ko kharab kiya hai. So that's the thing. They have. So if Afghan is telling, I don't have to give the certificate. They can be very angry about this video. Oh, look, this Indian fellow is actually blaming Pakistan. No, we are not blaming Pakistan. We are blaming your Pakistan army and the ISI. We have nothing against Pakistan citizens. We have everything against your people who have been harboring terrorists. Osama bin Laden was found on your land. Don't forget it. And who is Osama bin Laden? Now I'm trying to tell you when it happened. You please know. Buddha statue of Bamiyan was blown in March 2001. Then, when in March 2001, already the George Bush administration had taken over from the Clinton administration. He had barely taken over. That means still the administrative changes have not been made fully. January, the elections happen in America, just like this time. But you know, when Biden has taken over, it has taken time. Basically, every president, when he takes over, the administrative changes take 6 months, totally.
6 months, yeah. 6
So it was Clinton leaving power. Clinton was quiet. All the situation was done during the Democrat regime. But when the Republican had to come, the first thing he had to come is to control Afghanistan. It does not happen. March, Bamia statue blows. No world leader talks about it. 2001, only one world leader spoke about it because he knew what was Taliban. And his name is Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. Bharat Ratna Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was the man who spoke. Only world leader who was vocal. And he said what is happening in Afghanistan. The blowing of the statue of Bamia is a historical blunder. And it is a historical sad day for us. These were the statements, I would say the prophetic statements of Vajpayee. He said, this will be a big blunder. This probably will be a historical blunder. And you know, he used the words in Hindi like "Dunya ki, ye vishwa ki dharohar ka nuksan hua hai." That means it's a civilizational loss for the world. So do we remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji today? He was a bipartisan leader, according to me. He was not like although he was a BJP prime minister or an NDA prime minister, but he behaved like an Indian prime minister. He was a great statesman. I want to call him today and invoke his wisdom. But he had no powers to send a force because he had already seen what happened. He had dealt with the IC-814. He was in a situation where he could not militarily order intervention. But we all know he had already done military intervention in 1999. People forget. All of us, do we know the date of Kargil? Now I will give you the dates. May 1999 was Kargil. May, June, July. How do you forget? Why don't we connect? IC-814 hijacking, December. Because when they failed in Kargil, the Mujahideen fighters were killed. This was different Mujahideen. What is this Mujahideen? This is Pakistan Mujahideen. Because Pakistan is a very deadly country. I will tell you, there is a Taliban called Tehreek-e-Taliban which operates in Pakistan and very Qatar. Pakistan has faced the onslaught of these people. They want burqa and everything, and Pakistan common public are afraid of these people. There is an article by one Mr. Hanif, and he has written a recent article on how they are scared of these people taking over them. So this belongs to that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa range, where the earlier Northwest Frontier province was there, which is basically the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, which is the Pakhtunistan. It's called Pakhtunistan. On the Pakistan side, borders Afghanistan. And we know these Pashto speaking people are only the language common. But on the Afghanistan side, all the Pashto are not with this gang. So what Pakistan has been doing, they have been utilizing this particular thing against Afghanistan. And they have been imposing, I think we have lost Murthy's video, but I'll continue. They have been harboring these fellows on a constant basis. And it has been a difficult situation for India because India wants to help Afghanistan. India wants to definitely help Afghanistan, but how do we help? We don't have a border. We don't have a military situation. We don't have a border. How do we help them? This is the most important thing that is actually constantly plaguing our psyche, and India is constantly thinking what to do, how to help, how to enable, at this crisis zone, which is a very, very difficult time, as I told you, and I talked about two things, important things. I was just coming to that thing. The most important thing I said is Kargil happened, Kandahar hijacking happened. So India was also a sort of victim of the terror promoted by Pakistan. And that same gang is promoting a bigger terror in Afghanistan. A small country of 4 crore people, it could not withstand the terror onslaught. Armed terror onslaught, funding them, keeping them. And we all know, where was Osama bin Laden? He was in Tora Bora caves, which were again the border, the same region. And they used to cross over. And we know how it is controlled. Inside the Pashtun-speaking territory of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there is a particular body called the Shura. That Shura is the head of this entire body. So even Al-Qaeda was given asylum by these people. So now come link this whole idea with what has happened. On the 9th of September, 2001, now it's very important, everybody talk 9/11. This is another 9/11. 9th of September, 9/9. 9/9. The person who was killed using a parcel bomb was none other than the Lion of Panjshir. Ahmad Shah Massoud was killed using a parcel bomb. Information was there that this will happen from the Clinton administration. People will say, nahi, ye ho nahi sakta. And recently it has happened. 2 days back, I'm telling you, just now I'm linking how the intelligence works. American intelligence knows a lot of things. 2 days back, the British, BBC, and American intelligence together, and the American intelligence group, including have declared that people should vacate the Kabul airport, American citizens and British citizens and foreigners, because there is a chance of ISIS using this situation and attacking people and blasting the Kabul airport. You will not believe, yesterday it has happened. I think
Yesterday it happened. Yeah.
It's happened. So that
It happened.
same idea I'm conveying when Ahmad Shah Massoud was under duress and the intelligence was available with US intelligence. It was available during Clinton administration. Bush had taken over, but he did not ask and the intelligence did not release the information that 9th of September, Taliban would murder, assassinate, and do a do a kind of a killing, assassination, open assassination of none other than the Lion of Panjshir, the resistance to their rule, because 60% of Afghanistan was captured by the Northern Alliance forces at a time. On the 9th of September, 60%, and they were on the border of Kabul. They were going to take over. So in desperation, the Taliban sent a parcel bomb and killed Ahmad Shah Massoud to finish the movement. So they got reprieve. But what they did not stop there. They had already planned in tandem the second event, which they can investigate whether there are other angles to it. But on the 11th of September, 2 days later, after the death of Ahmad Shah Massoud through assassination using parcel bomb, which the Americans kept quiet about, if they had released the intelligence, would not have accepted the parcel. The gentleman would have been saved. And the world would have been saved because the resistance would be on. So Americans kept quiet. This is a very big question which has to be not only raised but investigated. Now comes 11th September 2001, the day the World Trade Center in New York is brought down. This is Lion of Panjshir, Ahmad Shah Massoud. Now it is his son leading resistance. That is he died 2001, 9th September to the 2021. We have entered September. The man who is fighting the Taliban is none other than Ahmad Massoud, the son of the same leader. And then there are other people. There is Abdul Rashid Dostum, who is also very strong. He's got his own forces, a military commander supporting him. There is a ex-vice president of Afghanistan supporting him, Ahmad Saleh. And there is also Gulbuddin Hikmatyar group, which is not as strong, but they are also dangerous. So there are the anti-Taliban forces which can come together. So we should not write our first, obituary that, okay, Taliban take control over Afghanistan. It is just time to watch and help the people who want to fight Taliban, not the other way around. It's very important to make this statement. Oh, in between, I'm making this statement so that I'm connecting with things. The connect is the most important. People fail to connect. तो साहब World Trade Center नीचे आया. किसने लाया? Who brought the World Trade Center down? Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda was sitting lapdog of Taliban. Now, where was Al-Qaeda operating? Where did President Obama next find? In a later stage, he went and ordered the killing of Osama bin Laden. Where was he found?
Pakistan.
In Pakistan. So what is the world talking? America has to answer. We're not talking President Biden to answer us. We're asking America. 20 years. 2000, when American interests were involved, you all came in. You all took over Afghanistan. 21 years later, you just escaped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. True. Absolutely, you are right.
Is it not unfair to the people of Afghanistan?
Absolutely.
True. How further unfair it is. I have in my hand, my friends, I'm just showing you can't read, but I'm going to read from this. This is called the Agreement for Bringing Peace to Afghanistan between, watch this, between the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by United States. ये भी लिखा है. Also, this is written as a state and is known as the Taliban. So there is nothing, no hidden. Clear, you are recognizing Taliban and the United States of America, USA. What is the date of this agreement? February 29, 2020. This is the date, my friends, February 29, 2020. If you want to see, you can go close and you can see. That's what it is. February 29, 2020. It is which corresponds to they have written the Arab year also, which is corresponding to Rajab 5, 1441 on Hijri lunar calendar and Hut 10, 1398 on Hijri solar calendar. They have quoted solar and lunar calendar. Look at the kind of importance they have given to the Sharia and Islamic ideology of the great Taliban, according to them. The Americans are recognizing Taliban here by giving importance to even their calendar, both solar and lunar. Look at that. The year they have mentioned Rajab 5, 1441 on the Hijri lunar calendar. And they say the Hut 10, 1398 on the Hijri solar calendar. That's the day, 29th February 2020. So see the kind of language that is used, diplomatic language is being used, sir. Highest quality of diplomatic language. And look at the apologists, the American apologists. Agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan. And then between the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by United States. But you go and make an agreement with an unrecognized entity. That means you are openly saying we are legitimizing an unrecognized entity. This is the day. And who is the president? All those people in America who are attacking President Biden, open your eyes. You are like the blind bhakts, whom we call the blind bhakti anandas, murkhas, foolish people. This agreement was done on the 29th of February 2020 between the forces of Taliban, which they have easily labeled as the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and between the United States of America. So the topmost body of that and the organization's chief was the president, the POTUS, the prime president of the United States of America. It was none other than Donald Trump.
True.
Now don't talk Biden.
Donald Trump.
Don't talk Biden. Biden has only done the last things. It started by the great Donald Trump administration, the Republican administration. We keep telling Republicans are different from Democrats. No. All the 20 years there were Democrats and Republican presidents. All are responsible. And now we have a wonderful Republican president, Donald Trump, giving legitimacy to Taliban. After funding, what is the funding they've done? $2 trillion, the claim of the American. We must investigate. What did you do with $2 trillion? Did you find the fat fellows of the Pakistan army, of the ISI? What did you do? And now you've given control to them.
Yeah, so absolutely. Absolutely.
Discuss. Why India is not discussing this? मोदी साहब ये क्या तकलीफ हो रही है हम लोगों को? ना तो कोई, मैं किसी का नाम नहीं लूंगा, किसी भी लीडर ने बात नहीं करी, किसी चैनल ने बात नहीं करी. Nobody's talking.
Yeah, nobody.
Why these documents
Nobody's
are
talking. Even the
about?
mainstream channels are all sitting idle. They talk something else.
Saying somebody maybe the Godi of X, somebody may be Godi of Y. Right?
Why? Absolutely.
There is Godi of X, Godi of Y.
But no Godi is talking anything.
Nobody is talking.
Nobody is talking.
Everybody is quiet. Nobody's picked up this document. This document, believe me.
Absolutely.
Sir, this document I have picked up in 5 minutes. I knew about this document. I downloaded it because I have read it. I downloaded it before this meeting with you. And Tyagarajan, my colleague, took a printout. I have just analyzed this before, but I have taken a printout so that it is in my hand.
Absolutely. In fact, this document is available for all the media people, if I'm not wrong. All Indian media knows it. But they don't want to print it out.
And I'm telling you,
the
American economy is made it mandatory to put this agreement up on their website.
Absolutely.
So American democracy, theek hai. America's democracy is operating. Information. Yes. You don't have to use an RTI to get the information. I am an Indian I'm sitting in Mumbai. I'm an Indian.
But you don't get the information.
But I get the information.
You have to apply for RTI. And they will decide. They'll decide in India whether RTI can be given or not.
Right.
For this subject. That is the democracy of India, you see. That's how Indian democracy
I'm still confident that America has a democracy. America has
Absolutely.
information. So we don't
That is
have
it.
it. So we have a lot of weaknesses here. See, transparency is the best thing to save yourself. Hiding anything can only harm you further.
Absolutely.
So-
There is no doubt American democracy is much more transparent. You can get
Yeah.
any information required there in that country.
Yeah.
Unlike India, where you have got all the laws, RTI is there, but a lot of information is not given to you.
Yes.
And a lot of information is not there in the public domain.
So
That's
I'm
the
very
problem.
happy. I'm very happy. While this program is not about US bashing, but this program is make US the powerful democracy, introspect, and especially the Biden administration to come out and openly say and not to support this bipartisan business has to end at some time. You have to clearly
Absolutely.
say this deal was not done by the administration of Biden. This deal was done by the administration of Trump.
Trump.
And it was in 2020.
Absolutely.
So now it was the duty of Biden, but Biden made one blunder, withdrawing so quickly without
So
assessing.
fast. So
So
fast. So fast.
That was the blunder. But I'm saying the Americans stand, I tell you, in scrutiny. The US stands in scrutiny of 20 years what it has done. They cannot blame any other country for
True.
what they have done. Why did
That's clear.
why did the US not bring a multilateral force if they cannot use the UN, at least not NATO, forget NATO, at least call countries like India and create a force which had neutral countries. See, United Nations, 50 to 60% of manning of United Nations forces, peacekeeping forces, comprises of people of Indian origin. So why India is being denied its rights? What has happened to the diplomacy of India? Why we are not speaking in this language? We may not offer money, we offer forces.
We offer forces. Absolutely.
We have even
Absolutely.
offered forces for UAE. We have offered forces in Syria. We offer forces for
Yes.
peacekeeping everywhere.
Everywhere we offer peace.
Our
Forces for
peacekeeping
peacekeeping.
forces are always going everywhere. Why don't we think about that? What is this reluctance not to be a super? I'm saying, okay, you don't have the money, but you have the people muscle, you have the ethics muscle, you have the fundamental. And another blunder. In fact, I would again request the Prime Minister to think again. We should start the non-aligned movement again, and it should be bipartisan. I think
Absolutely.
the Congress, the NCP, and all the leading parties should come together to establish the force of non-aligned movement, because it's important.
Absolutely.
While we
Norm is
are
required. Norm is the norm is
not
required now.
we are not enemies of none. We are friends of both Russia. We are also friends of US. But that
And in
does
fact,
not mean we will not be
very well.
neutral. That does not mean we will not be neutral.
absolutely.
And we don't need
Absolutely, you're right.
and we don't need the Commonwealth. Whose Commonwealth we are?
Yeah.
Are we the British colony? We dismantle Commonwealth. Enforce
Absolutely.
non-aligned movement. Enforce non-aligned movement. NAM.
That's the movement which India led for a long time.
And we
now
should
it's
lead
time-
again.
And time for us to lead again.
And
Absolutely.
we
true.
should start with Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
On
Absolutely.
the issue of Afghanistan, we should fight.
Absolutely.
We should tell the world that if we have taken a stand that Taliban is a terror force, we are not going to legitimize it. Under
Yeah.
no circumstances, if we legitimize it, we are denying and we are actually disregarding our friendship with the people of Afghanistan. Now let me
True.
tell you what I put. Who are all the people of Afghanistan? Just see this. Afghanistan has tribes which speak Pashtun, which speak Tajik. There are Hazaras, there are Uzbeks, there are Aymaks, there are Turkmen, there are Baluch, there are Pashais, there are Nuristanis. Can you believe all this tribe? This is all bordering
Yes.
with the Iran and Pakistan border on the west, on the east and south, things like that. Then we have the countries that are bordering it: Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan on the west, east, and south towards Iran and Pakistan. Then we have a very narrow strip of Wakhan, which extends 78 kilometers northeast along Pakistan into the Xinjiang province, which is called the Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. So the China must also be careful that this type of force comes in. So I'm repeating what I said is, other than these language speakers, I told you Pashtun, Tajik, Hazara, Uzbek, Aimak, Turkmen, Baluch, Pashai, Nuristani, even Gujjar, Arab, Brahui, Kizilbash, Pamiri, Kyrgyz, Sadat, etc. These are the tribes. Complex tribes. More than 24 tribes in Afghanistan and the borders. So this is the complex situation of Afghanistan. We cannot give any, we cannot force anybody to be on the single side. You see the map over there. You can see the Afghanistan map and the border very clearly. Here is, you see the border, on the top left is Turkmenistan, then right next to it is Uzbekistan on the top. We have the Tajikistan, again, the border, you see there. This is all this side, you know, and we say the Tajikistan, through Tajikistan, you can see the Kyrgyzstan also coming in that place, right? And, you know, Kabul is very near to this. You know, if you see, Kabul is very near to this region. Kabul is damn near to this region, if you see geographically. And the other big town on the other side is Kandahar, right? The Afghanistan, and it is broken by the Durand line with Pakistan and borders. And if you see Kandahar, and on the opposite side is Quetta. So that is the place where the Al-Qaeda and the Taliban operate from, you know. And this, if you all across this line, this entire line, which you see Peshawar on the top, the entire line, Jalalabad on the border, you know that Jalalabad is on the Kabul, near the Kabul, the big city of Jalalabad is there. Now that is where the whole problem lies, you know, the crossovers and other things, and the Taliban access to Afghanistan lies. So this is what we have to see very clearly on the geographic map. So Pakistan is a country which has been benefiting. It has the Pashto-speaking population, and the Tehrik-e-Taliban is a more bloodier Taliban sitting inside Pakistan, and they are the mother body of Taliban of Afghanistan. And that is how the control of ISI and Pakistan army goes in. That is how the control happens. This is what it is. So, and then I also told about the border of a small border of 74 kilometers, and suddenly China has jumped in support. They must remember that they are more vulnerable. They are killing the Uyghur Muslims, and the Uyghur Autonomous Region, the 74-kilometer narrow border towards the Xinjiang province, is where Taliban has easy access to. No military in the world can stop them if they get inside there, in that narrow border. So our friends of, China were laughing and climbing. They must be scared. And Pakistan must be scared too, because this whole territory, that entire border, along border, India is not going to first get impacted. They start talking on unnecessarily Kashmir and all that. That is not the issue. Issue is whether Pakistan will be able to operate without burqa, with freedom, whether their people will be able to speak. If these people come on you, they are so violent and deadly. That's the best situation. And yesterday's bomb blast was done by ISIS. All evidence and footprints of ISIS. So you know who's going to play in this. So the question is why, how Trump can make such an agreement? Is United States a childish power that it makes such an agreement with the terror organization? And then in this agreement, I'm telling you, it's deadly. It's a 4-part agreement. It seems they have promised them to take this entire Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan concept and legitimize it, taking it to United Nations Security Council, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. This document, it is promise given to them that they will be taken. Of course, they have told them that there are certain basic tenets that Taliban would not destroy the structure, character and all, but Taliban is always known to break all that. Once the deal is done, they've broken everything. They have killed people, maimed people, they have murdered people, they have taken women at, literally on gunpoint. They have married off many women. They must have killed so many children. We do not know what is happening right now in the main parts of Afghanistan. Almost 60-70% of Afghanistan is in the control. The only region not in their hand is the Panjshir Valley. The rest of it is more or less in their control. Yes, there are the pockets of Abdul Rashid Dostum. There are pockets of Gulbuddin Hikmatyar and maybe some other small tribes. Those pockets are safe. But if a large region which is safe and which has been safe forever, is the Panjshir Valley. Only the Panjshir is safe. Rest of Afghanistan has been cakewalk for Taliban. And remember, 75,000 Taliban forces without any air power conquered Afghanistan forces trained by the United States of America, funded by them, $83 billion down the pipeline and drain. And they
3 lakh army.
President Ashraf Ghani was almost a puppet president who took a few cars with money and also a helicopter with money which he could not fly, and he ran away. He simply vacated Afghanistan. Can you believe it? We don't know where he is, but he is vacated with his money bag.
Absolutely.
So what is the United Nations settling? And you know, another intriguing part, Murthy Saab, that our viewers must know, this agreement is being made when a government is there in Afghanistan.
Yeah, that is more surprising. When there is a government is there in Afghanistan.
See,
that is true.
This agreement could have been a little better if it was a tripartite between them.
Agreement between the three.
Three of them. But here there is no mention, no name, and Ashraf Ghani's government is not there. So the puppet government, the puppet is clear here.
Yeah.
And why is the Americans? I want to ask the American: is it that you are supporting Taliban? Have you been for 20 years harboring Taliban? Using Pakistan? And now you have no interest in it? Because now you are, and now the Chinese are interested. Let us come. I'm not alligating, I'm not saying it is, but the allegations are running thick and fast, and there are corroborative evidences which must be investigated. I will now tell you what it is. See, there is a report from the Associated Press, which was also carried by Indian media. I am going to read it out to you. The Taliban now hold the keys to an untouched $1 trillion trove of minerals, including some that could power the world's transition in renewable energies. Our subject, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Afghanistan has long struggled to tap its vast deposits. The Taliban are already in a financial bind since they returned to power 20 years after their ouster, as major aid donors halted their support for Afghanistan. Endless wars and poor infrastructure have prevented the country from getting its hands on the metals that could brighten its economic futures. Hear that. The resources include bauxite, copper, iron ore, lithium.
Lithium, that's most important.
And rare earth materials. According to the January report by the US Geological Survey. Whose report?
US Geological Survey. It is very clear. All the thing is for this material. Everybody who is looking at this material.
Now look at this further. That report says copper, which is needed to make power cables, become a hot commodity this year as prices of copper have soared to $10,000 per ton.
Per ton, absolutely true.
So now we have. So it's not about drugs. It's not about guns.
It's about the rare special material.
Story for lithium, story for batteries. So now I want to ask Murthy Saab, 20 साल में कितना lithium अपना क्या बोलते हैं smuggle हुआ अफगानिस्तान से? How much lithium has been smuggled? By whom?
Whom? That's unbelievable quantity of the things might have gone out already.
Exactly.
That's what is going to happen.
Superpower. Otherwise, no superpower vacates.
Absolutely.
British East India Company did not vacate India until they made merry with billions and trillions of dollars.
Absolutely. Same case. It is the same case there.
The figures are wealth worth 45 trillion was taken by the British East India Company.
Absolutely.
That is the report. So they didn't go to India just because somebody started fighting with them. They went and left India in 1947 because they knew now it was not economical to take out those resources, whether they were spices, whether they were, resources, whether they were gold, whether there was diamonds, whether there were anything that they took out. So no country is vacated by these forces without they finding that it is no more profitable
to keep their money and dump there,
yes,
without getting any return on the investment.
Yeah, so it is not about human life. US may talk about human life. It is about lot of smuggling that has been done.
It is ROI for whatever money they have dumped there.
Right.
They already got back all the money with return on investment very heavily back.
So now
now they moved out.
Now is it that they have left their friends of Taliban, friends of they are all supported Pakistan and China to do the next round of loot? So here मेरा सवाल है. This is my question. Are they not? So this agreement is a tacit agreement or authentication of second round of loot or what of Afghan people?
Absolutely.
अभी आपको पूरा ग्राफ
large deposits are found still last month.
Look at this. Iron ore.
Absolutely.
285.4 billion pounds. Put in pounds. Copper 185 billion pounds.
They're putting in pounds.
Niobium 55 billion pounds. Cobalt 34 billion pounds. Gold 17 billion. Molybdenum 6.2. Rare earth element 5 billion. Asbestos 4.2. Silver 3.6. Potash. Aluminium. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Graphite.
Look at that. Phosphorus.
Phosphorus. Lead and zinc.
Lithium. Large deposits found. No value. Because
lithium is large deposits found. That means still lot of lithium is left over there.
I'm telling you, sir, world's largest deposit of lithium is Chile. Then comes Argentina. And the third or fourth deposit is Afghanistan. You must know that. Almost the fourth largest deposit of lithium. Even China does not have that much lithium.
Absolutely.
Now left to the battery makers of China to take control of the lithium and supply batteries to United States for electric vehicles. And also now India will be pounded because round two, after they have pounded in solar, we have become powerful in solar, but we are not like China because the control of raw material, interest rates,
everything. That's true.
For loans from banks, China, we cannot beat them. 3% working capital is available. So now the control of this entire thing, and I will tell you why. A few days back, about a month or so back, I had Lieutenant General Ata Hasnain on my program. And I discussed with him about this corridor, the Pakafus, which is the Pakistan-Uzbekistan corridor. Look at the whole game. It is America cleaning the space through this agreement for making the Pakafus. Is America an ally of China? Now was Donald Trump, the ex-POTUS, the dethroned POTUS, support control of territory of Afghanistan and clearing the way for the Chinese to make Pakafus?
Absolutely.
And reach Afghanistan. Was it a method to put Russia in quandary? Because the moment Pakistan-Afghanistan corridor goes in, Russia will have to join forces.
Yeah.
Because Uzbekistan is the erstwhile territory of the Union of Soviet
USSR.
Soviet Union.
Yes.
Now I will take you back to an event which I don't want to discuss too much, but I will drop the bomb here. Lal Bahadur Shastri died in mysterious circumstances according to the world in Tashkent, but we all know his family says he was poisoned. No postmortem was conducted. It was done on Russian territory that time in Tashkent. What was the reason behind it? The only reason behind it is the deadly defeat that was handed down in 1965 by the Indian forces under leadership of Lal Bahadur Shastri when he ordered we have to take on Pakistan. 65 was a deadly defeat.
True.
And we must not forget which military commander got defeated, and he was in that negotiations in Tashkent. So the birth of ISI happened on that day, and Lal Bahadur Shastri was definitely investigated. It should be investigated. The ISI was responsible, and the US people knew it, and they kept quiet. Why did they keep quiet? Because it was happening in the Russian territory, so that all the fingers will be pointed toward Russia. This angle must be investigated, sir. I have evidences. I'm ready to support the Indian government if they want to investigate. Whether the Lal Bahadur Shastri killing happened because of the ISI and the it happened in the same territory. Why we were asked to negotiate? I will not come to the next stage. Whether Lal Bahadur Shastri ji met Subhash Chandra Bose, that is a different story altogether. And whether he was eliminated for that purpose is also a question. We will come. But I am just putting this bomb in between to make you know that people tell India has nothing to do with all these things. After they hear our video, they will understand we have a lot to do. Further, my friends, what is India's investment? So let BJP and Congress not fight with each other. It is the work done over a period of time. $3 billion worth of investment.
$3 billion worth. Absolutely $3 billion worth.
One of the biggest towns, upcoming towns, Herat, who are building the dam. Damn it, we are building the dam. And we have put 10,000 to 12,000 crores already. Are we going to just leave it? I'm going to beg Taliban, help us out. No, we're going to tell them, behave. That should be the language. Behave. Our money is involved. Our interests are involved. They are telling, if India wants to come and complete these projects, who the bloody well will pay for that project?
Absolutely.
The Afghanistan government to pay soft loan and all that. You will pay. You're a bunch of terrorists. You will pay us. US may do a deal with you. Should India do a deal with you? What is the condition? The condition will be put by India, not by you. US may have chickened out, but India has not chickened out. And if we are investing in another country, definitely if the Chinese are able to take their military into another country, if they don't take and then they take over the ports in Sri Lanka, I don't think India has any, reason not to tell these people this is a terrorist group. We are friendly with countries, and we are friendly with only those countries which understand that we are giving soft loans.
Absolutely.
And especially if the same country regimes are there. If the Afghan government, democratic government were there, we would discuss, not with Taliban. Taliban cannot dictate to India what we are doing. We have our investment of our hand and mouth there. We're going to fight for it. It may not harm us too much if we lose it, but we don't want to lose it. And we have invested in the friendship with the people of Afghanistan.
Why should we lose? Why should we lose?
Not with Taliban. We have invested in the friendship with the people of Afghanistan, the democratic people of Afghanistan, but not with this Taliban. We cannot recognize this. This, if we do it, we are de facto trying to tell and giving a leverage to this neighboring rogues in Pakistan, the neighboring rogues of the ISI, the neighboring rogues of the Pak army who have been misbehaving over time. They are the ones who have been funding this entire onslaught on Afghanistan, using United States money and capital. And the US has been guilty. It has to introspect that it continued to go mollycoddling with Pakistan. They were mollycoddling with Pakistan, the United States of America. All these years, I must ask the American administration, did your presidents of the 2 trillion put on 1 trillion onto Pakistan in the name of saving Afghanistan and funded the whole war and funded the terrorism? And that money, part of it was used to finance terrorism in Kashmir. This must also be questioned. This must be questioned as well. It's huge money. It's huge money. And this is this is not done. This is not done. This can be only done by the United Nations. This can be only done by the United Nations. Look at that. Again, it is coming. We have invested, or we have committed to invest $3 billion in Afghanistan for over 400 projects all across the provinces. It's not a small thing. It is a very important thing. And for the people of Afghanistan, it's very important. So we can't allow this Taliban to dictate to us. We are a sovereign, very powerful country. I want to remind all people, albeit I considered Indira Gandhi's emergency as one of the biggest blunders and biggest worst thing that has been done. But I must also on the other side say Indira had a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality. And Indira was great when she separated Bangladesh. And I would continue that. And remember, President Nixon threatening her. And in spite of Nixon's threatening and Kissinger mollycoddling with her, Indira stood firm. She went to Vajpayee. When Nixon threatened her, the first leader she called was Atal Bihari Vajpayee and said, I've been threatened and this is what they have said. He said, whatever decision, madam, you take, we are with you. The opposition leader said, Vajpayee said to Indira ji, whatever decision you take, it's a country decision, I am with you. And he went. She did not meet any of her cabinet ministers. She met Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. And Vajpayee ji said, my support is full on this condition of standing in front of United States of America in the case of freedom for Bangladesh. Sarkar
Absolutely true.
1971.
Absolutely true.
And
1971.
we are the only superpower in the whole of the world, not China, which got freedom to a country. The British have done it. The Americans must have done it, but they were owning those countries. They are not equal to us. We were people who never controlled any country. We went, we freed Afghanistan, we freed Bangladesh, the East Pakistan, then hammered the Pakistan army, took out 90,000 prisoners of war. Then we had left them for sure. We had also they surrendered. They meekly surrendered. The Pak army surrendered in front of the Indian Armed Forces. The Mukti Vahini won the battle. Indian army supported it. Nixon wanted to literally bomb us. He had to hit Ambul Pai and he resigned. No, he did not resign. He was probably the only president who was impeached in America.
Absolutely.
So that is the fate of Nixon, right? Because Indira stood her ground. She said, come what may, even if it's a world war, I am not going to flip an inch. They sent a frigate on the Indian Ocean. They sent their frigate.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
Oh, we were going to torpedo it, sir. Ye to bataya.
Yeah.
Indira was ready. Indira had given army the orders, Navy the orders. Navy was ready to torpedo. And the question was, if we had torpedoed, news would have come next day in BBC and everywhere. India belligerently attacks US aircraft carrier and takes it down the sea. Now, can US ever come out of this shock? So when they knew this will happen, they retracted. And Nixon ended up calling our Prime Minister. He used a 4-letter word. He used a word which we should not, but then you will know what he was talking. When he was interviewed BBC, did you say that? He said, no, I called her a witch.
Yeah.
And what he called, you can understand. Understand. He said, no, I said a witch. Witch. I called Indira ji a witch. And that is what Nixon said. So he was impeached for sure, for good, by the Americans. So on this ground, I want to remind Prime Minister Modi and all of us, if we have to stand our ground, we must also call all opposition. It's a time to deal differently on the Afghanistan issue. Afghanistan policy pe aap alag baat kariye. Fight on everything else in India, but don't make Afghanistan an opportunity to divide us on religious grounds or any grounds. It's not a religious issue. It is definitely not a religious issue. The people of Afghanistan are the people, whether they are Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, or anybody in Afghanistan. They are all our friends. Afghanistan is a friendly country. If we are friends of Bhutan, friends of Nepal, we must be friends of Afghanistan. Am I clear, sir? Are you with this?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Professor. Wonderful.
Any point you want to add?
It's wonderful. You have summarized very well. India has to stand the way we stood in 1971 against Bangladesh. Same thing should happen. All parties have to come together and put their position into the position very clearly to the world. That's most important.
I'm also doing, we will not go easily. I will show you one more video. I will show you video of an ex-NATO general. What is he saying? And this was on 13th of August that he has said this. Please play. Yeah, there are two of them. There are two videos. So the first video. Yeah, you run one and I will say this. Military forces, no. Yeah, this one. This is a very interesting video. Please, let us. This is CNN. America.
Let us see.
And this was 13th of August, if I'm not mistaken. When we hear this video, we can mute ours.
Let me start with you. I want you to watch what President Biden had to say about this withdrawal just a month ago. Let's watch.
The jury is still out, but the likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
How could the Biden administration and the president get caught by surprise like this? It appears they've been caught by surprise.
You know, I couldn't explain it because it's always been clear to everyone that once you actually committed to withdrawal, you set the date, the troops come out, that you will have supercharged the Taliban. They'll have a sense of momentum, a belief that their long-held faith in ultimate victory is about to be realized. And in Afghanistan, people change sides very, very quickly. We saw this in 2001 when we went in there and how quickly the Taliban regime collapsed. But the truth is that what's happening today is a consequence of 20 years of American misjudgments, of poor prioritizations and failed policies. And for the Biden administration, I think they'd reached the end of the road. It was clear that they weren't going to be able to create or help create an Afghanistan government that had the support of its people. And without that government support, its military did not have the support of the people. And this is the consequence of it. It's painful, it's tragic.
And it sounds like the Taliban has been lying in wait for this, Peter Bergen. Let me ask you, what does it say that President Biden is now deploying 3,000 troops to stabilize things so they can withdraw 2,500 troops?
It's befuddling, and it's a predictable debacle and an unforced error. And the fact is, Clarissa is reporting that they may take Kandahar as we speak. This is the birthplace of the Taliban. This is where the Taliban was first created. The second most important city in Afghanistan. Another thing I'm looking at, Jim, is they seized Ghazni, which is about 100 miles from Kabul. It sits on the crucial Kabul to Kandahar highway. You're cutting off the capital, and you're cutting off the second most important city. And Barbara referred to this estimate that she reported on about 30 to 60 days for Kabul to fall. I would revise that estimate, given what we've just seen. This could happen in days, and I think these actions of the Biden administration speak for themselves. You don't send 3,000 people in. That's not a minor evacuation force. We unfortunately, this could all play out in the next 2 or 3 days where we just see a complete and total collapse.
And that would be a highly dangerous situation, General Clark. Our correspondent on the ground, Clarissa Ward, there in Kabul, reports there's a feeling of sheer terror among Afghan civilians. What message does this send to the Afghan people?
That's right. And all over Afghanistan, there are people who are no doubt calculating, what should they do? Can they make a deal and survive under the Taliban? Are they marked for execution? Is there a way out? Will the Americans help them? So you can be sure that there are hundreds of thousands of Afghans who are in panic mode because of this. It is a predictable outcome. And once it started to unfurl like this, there was only one way to stop it, and that was with a pullback and a way to reinforce the commitment by the political leaders that they're going to work together and stay there and fight it out. And it didn't happen. And maybe it was impossible. Once an army like this starts to lose after all these years and all that money put into it, the morale collapses extremely quickly. So for the United States, we've got to protect our own people. We've got to do what we can to salvage what's left of this mission, if there is any mission left of that government that's in Kabul. And there's going to be some really tense days. I think Peter's right. This is going to happen much, much faster than what you're seeing in the official predictions.
And that'll be extraordinary to watch, Peter Bergen. And I can just see the steam coming out of the ears of the people over at the White House as they're listening to this discussion. President Biden has been arguing that there will never be ideal conditions for withdrawal. What do you make of that argument, that perhaps some of this was inevitable?
We're keeping 2,500 troops in Iraq, and we've just relabeled them non-combat troops, exactly the same time that we made this decision to pull out all the U.S. troops from Afghanistan. So it's kind of incoherent. This was unnecessary, and all we had to say is our commitment to Afghanistan is long-standing, and everything that we've just seen over the last several weeks wouldn't have happened.
General Clark, do you think that the president should reconsider what he's doing here? The time to reconsider?
I think the president's first responsibility is the security and safety of the American citizens that are there and the other members of the international community. And that's what he's got to be focused on now. Can he salvage anything of this mission? I'm not sure that it's possible at this point because so much is unraveled. But I would say this to what Peter said. Actually, this process started a long time ago. Even when we had the 8,000 to 10,000 Americans there were reports of the Taliban building strength, taking towns, holding towns, Afghan units not able to withstand the pressure, people changing sides. So this wasn't just something that snapped when President Biden made the decision. This was something that had been coming apart for a long time. One of the key trigger points was when President Trump decided he would announce the pullout and try to do negotiations. And you simply are not, it's just not possible to do negotiations the way they were being proposed when you're also pulling out and losing your leverage. The only remaining leverage we had was, gee, if you guys are nice and let us leave quietly, maybe we'll give you some assistance later on and we won't be so mean to you diplomatically and economically. But that's not their concern, the Taliban concern. They want the momentum. They want to take this right now. So I think that, this has to play its way out. Then we've got to figure out the next moves on this. This was a long time in coming. And I know, it's going to be very easy politically to blame the Biden administration for this. But when they came in and took a look at it, I don't think they had many alternatives. This was not Iraq. There was not a government there that had the ability to withstand the support. And so maybe we will have to go back in. But I think that's a separate, entirely different conversation.
So I wish to first comment on this. It was the General Wesley Clark, retired, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, General Wesley Clark, who was speaking, and there was the author Peter Bergen, who has written a book on Osama bin Laden and what happened.
Osama bin Laden.
So, but basically, I am focusing on what Wesley Clark said in the beginning and the end. He was very clear that you can't just blame President Biden for this particular result. He says the majority was happening from the past. And then he calls this an unforced error by Biden. That sudden withdrawal. He used the word unforced error. It's a tennis language. In tennis, you have unforced errors in the melee. You're playing the game and you get an unforced error and the ball goes out. So he calls, very interesting. I was watching, he calls this an unforced error. And then he has clearly pointed out that the agreement was made by the Trump administration. So now
absolutely, he said.
It is not Professor discussing with Murthy Saab and we have made a program. No, I have shown you evidence from a CNN interview, which we have run in this program, of General Wesley Clark, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, blaming the entire situation in Afghanistan on the American policy failures of 20 years. Number one.
Absolutely. We talked about 20 years policy failure.
And then saying the man who put the Amli Jama, or even in the the entire thing that was put up, was put up by that 29th February 2020 deal, the illegitimate deal made by ex-President Donald Trump of the United States of America with the terror organization Taliban, in the garb of calling it the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. So I'm making clear through that video, again a seconding video. Now let us close with the last video and then make a comment on it. Let us run another video that you have.
einen Widerstand geleistet, aus welchen Gründen. Wir haben alle und da übernehme ich auch die Verantwortung, die Entwicklung falsch eingeschätzt. Die Dinge haben sich beschleunigt. Die afghanische Armee hat keinen Widerstand geleistet, aus welchen Gründen auch immer, oder wenig Widerstand. Da haben wir eine falsche Einschätzung gehabt, und das ist nicht eine falsche deutsche Einschätzung, sondern die ist weit verbreitet.
Unmute. Your voice is not coming.
So now my voice is back. So what I meant to say, we ran the last video of the Honorable German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and she said this much before the final fall. She said this statement much before the final fall, and she said the assessment of the situations in Afghanistan were, I would say, the world failed in assessing the ground situation, and it's a collective failure. She's almost said collective failure, but she says it was not a German failure as such. She was very particular that it was not a German misassessment of the thing, but the collective failure of the world community in assessing what Taliban could do, what it has done, how much harm it has done. But there is the telling statement. Who were the people who were informing the world? It was not the United Nations. It was the United States of America, which took the onus on itself with the NATO forces to control Afghanistan for 20 odd years. There was no UN role. UN was just a sidekick. So if America was real, America should have called countries like India in the deal. Countries which were neutral, which had no border. And we should have the military that was actually bringing peace should be a multilateral military, not of the Afghan and the NATO forces. Not of the Afghan was a puppet force which they put. It was not Afghan force. It is a puppet force, puppet president, and they themselves are declaring puppet by not putting him in the deal. Trump does not put the Afghan president Ashraf Ghani as part of this deal. 29th, he makes a private deal and makes it public. No American media was covering this before. It's only all coming out now. Everybody kept quiet. So there is enough Godi in America also. They cannot. We are learning from them. We are worse than them. We learn from them, become worse than them.
True. Right? That is true.
See, till date, not a single Indian media had the guts or the spine to discuss this.
They will never have that spine or guts. Indian media is totally sold out.
And I'm thankful American media has at least pointed this out. At least they are free enough to point this out. And of all, CNN, considered to be a pro-democrat media in America, has conducted a program with an ex-NATO chief, and he has said it was our blunder.
Yeah.
Now, some of those fellows will come. I know some of the Trump friends will come, and they will say, oh, it was to give this license to Biden that he was not making a blunder. Oh, it was to bring Trump down. But my friends, Trump was not brought down. He brought down the world. Donald Trump brought down the world. 29th of February 2020, he pawned the whole world. He pawned Afghanistan. He bent in front of Taliban. And you know, one country must also be questioned. This deal was done at Qatar. Qatar was the country the deal was done. Qatar is the world's leading oil and gas country. For God's sake, give me a break. And I'm also questioning the silence of our Saudi friends. The silence of, but of course, United Arab Emirates also silent.
Everybody is silent.
They are good people. They should. Why these people are all quiet? Everybody wants to make a quiet loot in Afghanistan. Is it?
Absolutely.
They are doing it, but I'm questioning, is everybody trying to continue? And with now China, because now China must have told America, you have done your deal. You had it. You made your money. Let us make some money. So is the lithium, the cobalt, the berylliums, the copper.
It's a Still, it is a lithium. Rest of the things might have come down.
Even
It is a
copper.
lithium.
Sir, copper and bauxite also big deposits.
Yeah. Copper, lithium is the most important today, you see.
And also
Copper
bauxite.
prices are going up so
Bauxite.
fast.
Bauxite.
Yes.
And rare earth. We have not discussed. Afghanistan has also nuclear materials. Afghanistan has also.
Rare
Nobody's putting it.
Absolutely. Nobody's putting it. Nobody's putting it.
We know. We are discussing nuclear deal. We know. Uranium is also there. So you see what is Taliban getting. They're getting access to even nuclear weapons. And Pakistan, they have not declared. The list is not put because so that they can take out that uranium and Pakistan can and Pakistan can be armed with more nuclear weapons. So China can stay quiet. They can control Pakistan. So after the control of 20 years by America, are the Americans tacitly agreeing that we are giving this for the next 20 years to the gang of China and Pakistan to further finish Afghanistan? Now, these are questions which are unanswered, but there are corroborative evidence, as I said. So with this, I want to talk more on this. I think world will understand what we are trying to say. India needs to be not only on guard, we need to play a proactive role. I end with this, India must take a stand. That stand cannot be in favor of Taliban. We cannot negotiate with them. We cannot further endorse this American blunder. We need not and should not. History will never forgive us for this. We have to support the Afghan people. We have to be with them, not with this Taliban. With that, Murthy Saab, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's a wonderful session today. Thank you very much.
Namaskar and Jai Hind. Jai Hind to all.
Jai Hind.